We're gonna watch the Josh Strife Hayes video in a minute. I just want to check the Reddit real quick and see if there are new posts here. So we've seen that. Welcome home. Don't forget you're here forever. True. World of Warcraft is beckoning you once more. So, my tweets, yeah, we've seen that. Stephen Sharif and Margaret Crone should be blacklisted from the industry. 100% in Stephen case. 100%. About Margaret, I'm not really sure if she was in cahoots with Stephen or if she knew what's up. I know many of the people inside Intrepid Studios had no idea what was going underneath the surface, so I can't really blame them until I know, like, everything. But Stephen, 100%. I don't think that even Stephen himself would have the gall to go up and show his face on media ever again. I do not believe that. If he starts another Kickstarter project though, man, this gonna be a juicy one. I'm definitely gonna cover that. But he did try to kind of make himself look like the hero towards the end. And he, you know, tried to stick it to the man and say, no, I cannot stand for this. This is not my perfect game. I'm out. Dog, nobody believes that. No one is taking that bait. He thinks we're that stupid, but it is what it is. It should be 100% blacklisted, and I think it will be, but he doesn't care. He just took the money and ran away, probably. W Steam refund accepted. Yes, I heard about this. I need to watch a video about that. I heard Kira uploaded something, but to be honest, I anticipated this. Like, it was so obvious that Gaben, you know, being the actual living GOAT, would actually make sure Steam users have the best safety net out there. And that's why I love him. And that's why I love using Steam. And my god, I hope this, you know, this company would never be corrupted. But I heard Gaben, not Steven, hell no. I heard Gaben actually gives the company to his son. So if he raised the son for this sole purpose, that is good. We are secured for the foreseeable future. I didn't buy $40 games, so I'm smarter than all of you. True. Poor Steven quitting after putting so much of his own money into it. Yeah, absolutely, brother. The board taking over Steven. Who are the board, man? Who are they? Like, show them to me. And yes, I know he incorporated people into the company. And I know that people are still somehow trying to use this defense line of, no, he actually gave people power and they have used it against him. Why you gave them power in the first place? Couldn't you see that this was the dumbest idea ever? Especially when Steven himself has said in an interview, I think it was in 2018 or 2020 maybe, where he loves the company because there are no evil overlords watching over them. And that's why he loved it. Because he can do whatever he wants. So why would you give outside forces any influence over your company? That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my life. And I said this thing about Blizzard Activision merger. Now, obviously, there were some things that led to this merger, but at the same time, it was so bad. Like, there were so many mistakes along the way, and Steven definitely isn't innocent here. Not at all. Everything is his fault. He was at the helm, and he should be actually criminally punished for that, right? He should be sued. 100%. 100% he should be sued. Ashes of Creation. Steven, how could a board do that? True. This is Margaret. We saw that. Let's see. This is the Steam refunds. Steven message. Jesus, that was so cringe. Glazing Stevens for the past decade. Leave the multi-millionaire alone. I mean, yeah, it is what it is, man. Everyone are so frustrated. What is that? No favoritism, they said. Oh, wait, I think I watched that. Yeah, since you all were tinfoiling in the past, I remember that. This is the guy from Polar. That's crazy. Since you all were tinfoiling in the past, I can clear things up now. Yes, there was favoritism. There were X mods who could help with RMT, who would help with RMT as well. Steven, you up? Yep, just woke up actually. LOL, just moved you from the band. That's crazy. It honestly looks fake. It looks giga fake. What the hell? I clicked on the post. Wait, I want to see what people think about this. This is actually interesting. Because I haven't read the comments, I just read this. Not even the worst I've seen by Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. And the GM of Polar was in the Reddit and tried to tell me his guild was clean. Of course. They always lie. Why would you ever believe that? I mean, if you play World of Warcraft, you know that to be true. People were in cahoots with, like, GMs. It's a tale as old as time. As the first MMO. And you know, and I've seen this happening real time in Guild Wars 2 recently. I saw that on Rose stream. You have GMs literally coming to other people's streams just to get special treatment. And if they don't get that special treatment, oh boy, you're gonna know about it. Like, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it. They're gonna punish you. They're gonna ostracize you. It's so bad. And it's such a lame behavior. WoW GMs used to do it too. I don't know what they do now. Maybe they're drinking, like, milk. But other than that and cube crawling, I'm not sure they're doing anything with their lives. You guys were so naive. I know Steven from Lineage too. Man, okay. I said it many times. He was a whale in the RMT world. And like all businessmen from L2, they're always shady. They worked with us to split profits. They're enablers. Without them allowing it, there are no RMT possible. Most of you just didn't want to listen and knew better. So I heard so much about this. By the way, in case you don't know what RMT is, it means real money trading. I mean, I hope I'm not wrong about that. And yeah, I mean, I heard about this so much. I deliberately ignored that because I'm just a person who loves to focus on what's in front of me. I love to focus on the tangible stuff rather than things that happened in the past. That's why I never really paid attention to Steven past, even though I should have. Now I understand that. But I like to focus on more tangible stuff that's in front of me. So if I see a really bad game, which I saw, I'm gonna speak against it. I'm not gonna just connect everything from the past, but I have mentioned it, just for the sake of fairness. So I've seen so many people commenting stuff like that, and people who played with him, I think, in Arcade, and they said he was the scummiest player ever. And I didn't believe it really at the time, because everyone can write something over the internet, and without real proof, I'd rather just not really pay attention to it, because I don't like to just throw out information that is, you know, from Twitter or just random sources that don't really have any proof whatsoever. I like to verify things before I talk about them, so I never really paid attention to it, but it makes sense. Now it all connects. Let's see. If you ever played on WoW private servers or private server shards, yes, you've seen Steven's act before. Absolutely. That's exactly what I said. A couple of try-hard guilds run the show. They can do anything that breaks the rules and it will be overlooked because they have socially engineered their way into the server owner's inner circle. This game is not big enough to have this much problems with RMT. All it takes is a few overzealous admins in teams of at least 250 people and they will be gone. There is not enough players and servers to hide. They can easily be found and manually terminated. No ban waves needed. If you join game official Discord and people are allowed to run rampant and shit on newcomers, then you can bet your ass they're doing the same thing in game. And their behavior is enabled, if not actually condoned. The Steam launch should have been hundreds of players who already backed the game banned simply for how they spoke and acted. There are no benefits for your gaming company to allow brain-dead players to run rampant. Just get rid of them. Refund them if you have to. And don't form social bonds with the players who are most actively exploiting your game. This is so facts, and this is something I speak about all the time. Guys, you remember when Pirate Software, back in the good old days, when before the entire, you know, domino effect just started to happen, he played Ashes of Creation, and he was actually in direct connection with Steven, and he actively told people who ganked him, they're gonna be banned soon. Now, I'm not really sure if Steven actually took action against said people. I didn't really follow up on that story because I couldn't care less about Pirate Software until everything kind of collapsed and it was funny to look at. But it's so insane that anyone with connection to Steven think he's like a god. But so many players are doing it, so I can't really blame them. I just blame the admins because they are the ones with power. They should be responsible. And why the hell you're using your powers to just connect with players who clearly don't care about you and only abuse you to just get a modicum of power, because in real life they're just sitting inside of their mother basement and no girl has ever touched them. Like, who cares? Like, who cares about them? What are they giving you except for money? And even then, you can just create a good game and you'll get money anyway. I never understood that logic. I think that games that are being made by complete losers, like Steven, actually just, they're turned off so bad. They turn off so bad because they cater to the 1%, and this is something I said back in the day too. And when you cater to the 1%, all you're gonna get is the 1%. And that was horrible. And by the way, the 1% doesn't give a shit about you at all. Like, not even a bit. So at this point, I think people are just saying more of the same thing. Let's see the other one. Age like milk. You just don't understand MMO development. Oh god, it's all the excuses. The project is fully funded. $50 is actually cheap. Oh god, I remember this one. Oh, I remember when I just started to criticize Ashes of Creation. I remember that. Most of the hate comments that I got on said videos were, brother, poor? And that's it. And by the way, they weren't wrong. I am poor. But at the same time, I'm not dumb enough to pay $50 for a game that is clearly incomplete. So I know how to save my money, unlike you, which, you know, just goes to show what your brain is function. Like, you're so bad at what you do. But at the same time, maybe you have the privilege to do so, and I'm happy for you. But yeah, enjoy that game. So let's see the other excuses. If you don't like it, don't buy it. He released on Steam to get more players. Sure, half of these are bots, by the way. It's only for testing, not for money. Steam Early Access is normal for MMOs. Each and every one of these quotes here, I actually answered. Like, I'm so tired of saying this. It's only for testing, not for money. Then give it out for free. Hand out people the keys for free. Pick people from the Discord you actually trust to test your game and give them keys. Why do you sell it? And if you want to do a stress test, then make it for free. Just for a limited time. Make it free. That's it. Dude, what are we on about? Why are we making excuses for, like, big companies? It's so insane. Steam Early Access is normal for MMOs. Which MMO? Not many MMOs have done Early Access on Steam. Most MMOs just release and die. Stop being toxic, let them cook. Yeah, we got cooked. On the other hand, the title of the game aged very well. True. I mean, it's insane. Wait, what? Check the Discord for a quick dopamine hit. The cope is hilarious. Don't tell me people are still trying to defend this, man. This is absolutely outrageous. Stephen Sharif board takeover story is 100% fabricated lie, and the house transfer prove he planned this collapse months ago. I heard about that. Let's see. Hey there. The Intrepid Studios implosion is fresh. Layoffs hit today, and Stephen Sharif resignation post is still circulating, but let's cut it through the spin. His claim that he lost control to a mysterious board that enforced unethical decisions is absolute undeniable lie. This is not an opinion. It is contradicted by public records, his past statements, and hard evidence showing he quietly protected his personal assets months before the so-called sudden resignation. Well, it could have potentially just have been mismanaged, and Steven saw the collapse coming, and he just ran away. He prepared for the worst, and when the worst came, he just, you know, just executed his plan. So that also can be the case. It doesn't mean that he necessarily lied about that. Below is the factual breakdown. There's no wiggle room. There was no board that took control. Sharif was the board. California Secretary of State, Stephen Sharif as the sole director. That could have been changed. Yeah, that could have been changed. I don't want to read the post that off of Reddit. I think many things can change, and we don't have all the details. I understand where he's coming from, but I mean, we still need more proof. We need more validation. I don't want to go off information off Reddit. Like, whenever we see a video about that, I'll believe it. Nice, more refunds on Steam. And let's see, an update. Yeah, everyone talking about the Steam refunds at this point. The reason it was cancelled on 31st of January. I believe it was so the developers won't get paid, right? I heard about that. Someone in the comments told me. Most non-games devs won't notice, but developers get paid, yeah, by Steam on the 30th of the month following sales of the previous month. So with Ashes, they released in December as a last-ditch money grab, Hail Mary, waited for Steam to deposit the funds for December sales into their accounts on the 30th of January, and decided the next day to close up the company before they had to start paying developers again. Yeah, I heard about that. It's crazy. It's crazy. They knew it was coming. They knew it. And, I mean, why do I say they? Like, literally, Steven. He knew this was coming. He actually planned that. And that's why I'm telling you guys that most of the developers, like, literally, 90% of them, most likely, weren't in the know. Like, they didn't know anything. And it's so frustrating because genuine, passionate people about an MMO lost their jobs. And it's always sad to see. I always hate to see an MMO dies, but it's even harder when passionate developers go along with it. It's always difficult, and truly, my hearts do go to them, but at the same time, I'm glad that this entire, like, thing blew up in some people's faces, man. I'm just, I'm doing a little bit of grave dancing here, but yeah, reality is really sad. Everyone is frustrated, and I understand because even I'm frustrated, right? I lost the opportunity to play a potentially really great MMO, because back in the day I supported Ashes, not financially, thank God, but spiritually. I used to watch all the developers update back in the day. I waited for the end of the month to watch my hero, Sharif, my boy, my homie, talks about Ashes of Creation, and he told me this game was going to be a game changer. It's going to be the next big MMO. We're gonna work towards it together. 10 years have passed, and now I'm laughing. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is, man. It just, there's nothing else to say. That doesn't make sense because they literally compiled with an asterisk, the severance pay. Really? Okay, interesting. Maybe it's like, again, like the legalities of the stuff. I'm not really strong on that. But I heard Steam is now, like, refunding people. So that's the good part, at the very least. Narc was right, we saw that. Man, I really wish Narc would actually make a video about that. I know he's doing something else right now. I watched his other channel, it's phenomenal, but at the same time, I really wish he would bring back the old channel just for once and take a huge load of shit on everyone's head. I really wish that would happen, man. This video is gonna be for the ages. Let's see. Dear Steven, sorry to hear that AOC Alpha isn't working for you. This game isn't for everyone. Oh, dude, this... Oh, man. This is just a dash of cynicism. I don't know how many times I saw you active on this Reddit discarding healthy criticism. Yes! Sadly, now your game isn't for anyone. I don't think he cares, but at the same time, I don't as well. I said this so many times. Steven can take even a smidge of criticism. The only things he ever commented on was light criticisms of, you know, just a tap on the wrist and positive takes. That's it. Everything else he regarded as being like silly or straight up like disingenuous and dumb because he couldn't face the consequences of his own actions. And that's that's unfortunate, man. And I really hope this man would get like sued, not because I really care that the entire game collapsed, but because he was so arrogant, he thought he was unbeatable. Like, that's why. And he screwed up everyone else without even taking into consideration the emotional investment that people had inside of the game. Because it's not, at the end of the day, it's not only about the money, it's about the time spent for many players actually anticipating this game to come into fruition. And it just turned up to be nothing burger. Like, literally nothing. And I think the emotional investment that players had in it, and all of this thing just now collapsing in their faces, it just sucks. It sucks for the entire ecosystem, and it's really bad for the environment, and I really wish we start punishing a bad actor so we won't see this happening in the future. I don't want to see this happening ever again. And don't get me wrong, I don't believe that any Kickstarter MMO would ever see the light of day after this one. I truly don't believe this. This was the one last hurrah Kickstarter had, and it completely fumbled. We're not gonna ever see any support for Kickstarter MMOs in our lifetime. And rightfully so. It's unfortunate because we can potentially lose on a really good MMO in the future. But at the same time, we're just risking getting hurt over and over and over again. So I understand why it would never happen. Let's see. Make fantasy idea that sounds very good and ambitious. Start developing it and fund a studio. Sell multiple waves of alpha keys for not really... playable tech demos. Use the Wii, change the game engine to buy more time. Yes, it was actually a trick, now I see that. Release the completely unfinished and generic game to Steam. Early access to squeeze last beast of money out of it. Act like it wasn't your fault and you're not bad guy. Profit. True. True. I don't get why many people think he's down bad. I don't believe he's BS. He took the money and ran. We still need to find out about that. We still need to find about that. Many people say that he took like 14 or 15 loans and stuff, and he's incredibly in debt and trying to just pin the debt on the other people on like the Shadow Council. I'm really not sure. Again, this is why I don't want to talk about the legalities of the stuff, because we don't have all the information. It's gonna float naturally. Like, naturally we're gonna see more and more stuff rise up to the surface, but nowadays we can't really assume anything, so I'd rather just not take any guesses. But the game didn't die because of the lack of players. It died because the dude making it dipped. Most likely because he realized he doesn't have the skill. He should have realized that a long time ago. And by the way, I always said this. Hardcore MMO players doesn't necessarily make the best MMO. Because whenever someone creates a game, they usually create a game that fits themselves. And that can be a good thing, because you can go old Blizzard route where you had everyone on board pretty much being a hardcore gamer, but at the same time, they understood what the people wanted. So, classic WoW used to be hardcore in certain terms. It used to be very similar to EverQuest, because that's where most of Blizzard developers came from. Not from, like, directly EverQuest, like, development, just from EverQuest, like, gaming in general. So, the game was very similar, but you could see a significant change in TBC, because Blizzard actually knew how to take criticism, and they watched the feedback. And I recently watched a video about that too, where Jeff Kaplan spoke about how they took all of the information and utilized it in the next expansion in TBC. They took over from Classic all the information, what people were doing, they watched all the metrics, and then they curated a game that was pretty much on par with most players' ideas. So it was insane. It was insane. Steven was clearly incapable of doing so, and you can tell he was a hardcore MMO Andy, and he was in cahoots with like other guilds. Super cringe. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Let's see if we have one final post that is interesting in here. Wait, what? The gloating over AOC death in the subreddit is honestly pathetic. Oh, you know what? Let's end up on that. That's gonna be a juicer. That's bound to be it's a rage bait. Okay, it's kinda long. Honestly, I find it pretty pathetic how many people in the subreddit are getting off on the idea that AOC is dead, and every single time the same argument is pushed to the front. I told you from the very beginning. The game was always a scam. Everyone who played it is stupid. Brother, all of this is true. And you know what? We earned that right. We're gonna grave dance until there's nothing left to burn, because we deserve that. We waited 10 years for a game that most likely never existed in the first place. And now we've seen all the red flags. We told you, we warned everyone, and we were being ignored, being laughed at, being clowned upon, and just being ostracized by you. So now, you bet your ass we're gonna do everything we can to squeeze in those few moments of happiness, those tinges of small, happy little thoughts. And we're gonna do them on Reddit all day long because you guys earned it. You earned it. You made us do it. It is what it is. We earned that right, and we are going to use it. Now, let's see. First reason, everyone who bought into the game before Steam release knew what they were getting into. No, they haven't. Someone who spent $100 or more on an alpha key doesn't do it lightly. You're mistaken. Those people don't need pity, and they're also not the ones currently complaining that their money is gone. That part I can agree with. But at the same time, you need to understand, people genuinely believed in that product. They did. And they did. They saw, oh, okay, this guy looks pretty cool. And just gave him $100. Some people do have that money lying around. But at the same time, everyone bought into the Steam release, knew what they're getting into. That's not true. That's not true. The people who are rightfully upset are those who bought the game on Steam. Yeah, I guess. Not everyone follows the game development for years, knows exactly who's working on it, or tracks every single controversy. True. And even when you buy an early access title on Steam, it's reasonable to expect the game won't be dead 2 weeks later. All we can do now is hope that Valve investigate the case and refunds everyone affected. Okay, that's true. I have nothing to say here. Some people in the subreddit seriously believe that AOC was developed from the very beginning to selflessly milk money from the Kickstarter and early access, with no real intention of ever making it into an actual game. So, this is what I used to think. Nowadays, I'm not really sure. It could potentially been just mismanaged. What I think right now, and it, you know, it's liable to change, is that Ashes started as a scam. Because Steven is, you know, he did this once before, right? Like, I don't want to, like, exactly, allegedly, okay, I'm gonna say allegedly. He allegedly did such a thing before, and he may have wanted to do this again. So, what ended up happening, I think, in my opinion, strictly in my opinion, I want to make this absolutely clear so I won't get into trouble here. I think that it started off as a scam. Steven may have seen potential in it, started ramping up the crew, actually reached a really solid point, and then realized he doesn't know what the hell he was doing. So the game turned up being a scam again, and he just jumped ship. That's what I'm thinking right now, again, liable to change. Developing a game for 8 years with 100, 200 employees over that period, plus ongoing server costs, burns enormous amount of money every single month. Then just be better, just be wiser with your money. Blizzard did, with the same amount of money, and less people, more than he ever done. And also, guys, I hate the fact that I bring up this statement every single time. They used an engine that does not belong to them, okay? Go watch single developer projects on Unreal Engine, and then you'll see what I'm talking about, okay? It's not that difficult with a team of even 100, or even 50 employees working on an MMO using Unreal Engine 5 just to completely make a solid foundation for a game. I'm not asking for a fully completed MMORPG. The Steam Early Access should have had, at the very least, show some promise, okay? That's it. And it's not that difficult. Even with 50 people, crew, you can make that happen. Like, you can make that easily. That kind of cost can be recovered by selling a few hundreds. Yeah, because of that alone, it's clear that Intrepid Studios had genuine interest in developing a good game, if only to recoup their costs. Which brings me to my final point. We don't actually know what happened, a lot is unclear. Yes, it's extremely shady that the game was shut down shortly after the Steam release. It could have been a desperate attempt to recover at least some of the millions lost, but those are just speculations. Okay, I actually agree with that. So please be kind to each other. Hell nah, as gaming community, we shouldn't be tearing each other apart. Hell nah, brother. Hell nah. Listen, I don't believe in turning the other cheek. I don't. If someone clowned on me for years for speaking the truth and telling about the obvious signs of degradation in quality, nah, dude. I'm gonna take this opportunity just to laugh at your face. I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna do that. I don't care. I mean, you ostracized me. You called me stupid. And you did everything you can to make sure that I would be silenced. And, like, don't get me wrong. The early Ashes of Creation videos I've made were disliked, bombed into oblivion. But a lot of people still agreed with me. But, man, I'm just gonna salivate. Like, oh my god. There's so many things to say. You know what, dude? I'm just gonna straight up say it in your face. I do not care. I do not care. You can cry all you want. I earned that right. And you should be ashamed of yourself of telling me not to do this and be kind to the other. I don't believe in it. I'm a huge V for Vendetta Andy. Wait for the official statements and investigation reports to base your opinion on facts, not as much. I do agree with that. And it's also okay to be sad on how AOC is ending. It was a game that had a lot of potential, especially in the genre where we've been waiting for something new for years. Looking forward to something you've been missing for over a decade is not shameful. True. True. Actually true. Edit. Jesus Christ, people, please actually read the post. Yeah, you know what? He actually made a really clickbaity title, but I agreed with, like, most of the stuff he wrote that. I agree that, like, that's fine. But at the same time, like, dog, what are you on about? I guess the comments are going to be irrelevant, but this is a pretty good point to end on. I mean, listen, I understand. You want us to be kind to each other, you want us to do all that stuff, brother, no. You can't ask us, after being ostracized for so long, to just say, hey, right now, the people are in pain. They lost a lot of money they invested into the game. And I will just stay here and say, boo-hoo, I do not care. I mean, you laughed at me. You called me out for speaking obvious truth. And now I'm gonna just laugh at your face. That's what's going to happen. I mean, you screwed me up so much. Why the hell would I... Like, it's crazy. It's crazy you asked that. And by the way, I'm not here advocating for you, like, chasing anyone in particular or something like that. Like, God, no. Like, don't go and harass people. Don't be stupid, okay? I want to make this one thing absolutely clear. But at the same time, we are 100% allowed to make these type of posts. You can silence us. Enough. We've been silenced for too long. And that's pretty much it. I mean, it's crazy, man. It's truly... Ashes is truly a gift that just keeps on giving, man. It's never ending.